I just want to go back because I can you were famous before you were famous, and so you had acted in some significant London theater, and all right, you had gotten some crappy parts that nobody ever heard of. You had really not a great modeling career. Right? You were too much of a manly man for the modeling business.
But too manly and too girly at the same time.
Just tough to pull off, but you're the guy.
And you can't even do the androgynous look when you got like a pot belly as well. It doesn't work. You just basically, you should never have entered the industry.
But there's this whole, without getting into spoilers, there's this whole thing about a guy who's at the end of the movie, you know, just when you think it's safe to kind of calm down and watch the movie, Paul Giamatti just comes in, whoa, like this. And it's remarkable. And it's, you know, you guys do a great thing. You talk for, you know, a long time.
22 minutes.
All right. Now you're spoiling.
They won't be looking at their watches, trust me.
It is. We're gonna see a clip of it at the end, but it's remarkable. But that guy is organizing himself in relation to someone else's fame. Mm-hmm. And so, what is it about America and fame? I mean, you've been at the heart of it.
I think it's because America really wants to have a royal family, and
you do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, because that's really what it is. But it's like, you know, you want to have a kind of democratic royal family. Like it's
right.
You pick your, you know, there's people pick their king and queen and whatever, and you know, all the princes, and it's exactly the same thing. I mean, but you know, it's a meritocratic version of it. Sort of. Actually, no, it's not at all. I mean, it's almost totally random.
But it's a trip that's laid on. So if you and Kristen have trouble, it's like Charles and Di having trouble, or...
It's, I think this would lead to...
What?
I wasn't really going there, just so you know.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
No, let's stop at Princess Snooki. It would be Princess Snooki.
That's a different kind of American royalty.
Yeah.
In your movies like Scanners, it's like Mind Control or Bug. There's a guy transforming from within. This guy is also in a metamorphosis, but is the change coming from within him or from without him? You know what I mean?
I think both. I don't think you can. I don't think you can separate.
Is he bored?
I don't think he's bored. No.
He's he's ferociously absorbing everything to the point where like he just reaches the end of his capacity to absorb, and I think.
You know, he's very acquisitive. He wants things. You know, I don't think he's.
Oh yeah. He wants to buy like all the Rothkos or everywhere.
And the chapel.
And he can't really answer why.
Yeah, but I can.
Please.
Well,
he also kind of answers why as well. But go ahead.
Why don't you go ahead?
No, I mean because he has to own it, because that's, you know.
And the thing is, what is it? You know, he sees in Rothko paintings a kind of serenity and a kind of peace, and in fact, that they happen to be in a chapel, so there's even a religious thing. There's a collection of Rothkos in this chapel in Texas, and he wants to buy the whole chapel, not just with the paintings. And why would, you know? The suggestion is that he's trying to buy that peace, that serenity, that spirituality. The only way he knows to achieve that, though, is to buy it. That's how he does. That's how he gets stuff. And it's said to him, well, people need to see that, and he responds immediately, well, let them buy it then. Yeah.
So I mean, there's things about this guy not very likable, but you still end up liking him, probably because you play him. Right? I think it's time for a little movie magic. Can we run a clip? I'd set it up, but I'd probably screw it up. So let's go.
We've been married only weeks. Barely weeks.
Everything's barely weeks. We have minutes to live.
We don't want to start counting the times, do we? And having solemn discussions on the subject.
No, we want to do it.
And we will. We shall.
We want to have it.
Sex.
Yes. Because there isn't time not to have it. Time is a thing that grows scarcer every day. What, you don't know this?
It's a very difficult movie to watch out of sequence.
Yeah. If that makes no sense to you, it's okay. In the movie, it doesn't either.
Well, but their relationship does sort of drop in out of nowhere through out there. I mean, he just kind of like spots her going across a town. And so these encounters that he's having with her, does he wish to, well, I won't get into a motivation. When you were making, what attracted you to this book in the first place, where you read it? And you know, this obviously one of America's great contemporary authors, and he's told stories for the ages. But what about this book drew you in and said, this character is compelling, I need to make a movie about it?
Well, it's the dialogue. I mean, I really, you know, as for Rob, I mean, Don DeLillo, in all his books, writes incredible dialogue. But because it's a novel and not like a playwright like Harold Pinter, who also writes incredible dialogue, you never get to hear it spoken. And I thought, I would really love to hear some wonderful actors speaking this dialogue. I think it would be fantastic, and I think it would, you know, conjure up all kinds of interesting things to get it off the page, where it's working very well. But I mean, it would be great to see it animated and embodied by actors who are speaking it. And I want to hear the voice of this guy, Eric Packer, and I want to hear the voice of Elise, who is his wife. And so it was really that. It wasn't a sort of a conceptual thing. It wasn't certainly, you know, it wasn't, gee, this is my chance to do a movie about, you know, the death of capitalism or something like that. Not at all. It's a more physical, sensual, it's like sculpture, you know. And I thought, I really want to get my hands on these characters, and I want to, you know, move them around, and I want to see how they bring them to life that way. What
made you think Rob could pull all that off?
I'm still not sure. You know, we're working on it. You know, you do your homework as a director. You know, I watched not just the Twilight movies that existed at the time, but Remember Me and. And a movie you might not have seen called Little Ashes. Now, in that movie, he plays a young Salvador Dali, and you know, I think that was a very, you know, what we would say courageous. I mean, it's a very complex character. He does it with a Spanish accent.
What can't you do, Rob Pattinson?
This is a Spanish accent which I learned off watching interviews with the manager of Liverpool Football Club. That was my dialect coach.
But you see, that's totally legitimate. I mean, it doesn't matter how you manage to do it.
Yeah, Liverpudlian Spanish accent, that's what I was going to
say. And it worked with all the other weird Spanish accents. So I thought, well, here's a guy who's really not afraid, you know? He's not worried about like being a star or presenting himself in a particular way. He's interested in diving into a character. It's very strange and complex, ambiguous sexuality, all that stuff. And then the other things he's done. And another weird thing that happens these days is that you go onto YouTube and you watch interviews with the actor. So I would watch interviews that Rob had done to see, like, does he have a brain, you know?
Nope.
Does he have a sense of humor, you know? Does he have a good sense of humor about himself and so on? But it gives you an idea of what you might be dealing with the actor on the set. In the old days, you go meet the actor, hang out, and maybe just after 10 minutes you decide this guy's horrible, I don't want to work with him. But you're stuck with hanging out with him. Now you just go on YouTube at 3 in the morning, and you say, yeah, I think he could do
I'd
this.
split a 6-pack with this guy. He seems okay.
That's what I said. He would take 5, I would take 1. And then after that, it's just a movie magic. It's intuition. There's no rule book that can guide you with casting, and it's a hugely important part of directing that is invisible and most people don't know about it. But if you cast your movie wrong, you've destroyed it. And in particular, like Rob is in every single scene of this movie, every one. Now, even in a big Tom Cruise movie, Tom is never in every single scene, but Rob is in every single scene. So if you get an actor for that role who is not particularly watchable or whose charisma only goes so far and then you get bored with him, that's going to kill your movie. So did he have charisma? Of course, it makes it sound like a kind of disease, a skin thing.
Well, it probably didn't hurt the business prospects for the film getting made either. Rob got
but I mean,
attached.
there are, to get right down to the nuts and bolts, these are very pragmatic questions. If the movie's going to be expensive, and this movie was expensive for an independent film. I mean, it's not Batman budget, believe me, but it's the lunch on Batman cost more than this movie. But can the actor attract the financing?
Right.
Because of his, people know him. And weirdly enough, what passport does he have? Because this movie was a Canada-France co-production. And therefore, we could only have one American actor in it, and that's Paul Giamatti. So you
chose well.
Yeah, I know. Only the best. Only the best.
Giamatti doesn't show up until fairly deep in the movie. You get a little glimpse early, and I loved that you just play peekaboo with him a little bit. But when he shows up, he really shows up. We have a clip of Paul Giamatti that I'd love to share with you.
You are foully and berserkly rich. Don't tell me about your charities.
I have no charities.
I know this.
You don't resent the rich. That's not your sensibility.
What's my sensibility?
Confusion. This is why you're unemployable.
Why?
Because you want to kill people.
That's not why I'm unemployable.
Then why?
Because I stink. Smell me.
Smell me.
Even when you self-destruct, you have to fail more, lose more, die more than others, stink more than others.
You want to watch a movie? Every time I see a clip, I want to watch the movie. Yeah.